Hello weirdos, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little different. I have been sick for the last almost week now, and I have not worn a drop of makeup since I've been sick. So I have an idea, hear me out. I know that some people think that it's weird that people like me talk about serial killers. It's almost like they think that we idolize them, which is disgusting. I can't speak for all, obviously, but I know that I don't idolize serial killers. I just find them extremely fascinating. So to clear the air that I don't idolize serial killers, you can listen to me talk shit about some of them while I'm putting my makeup on. So here we go. Okay, so here me and my big forehead go. First, we're going to talk about Ted Bundy. And I feel like everybody knows at least the name Ted Bundy. He is one of the more infamous serial killers that are out there. He was perceived as being very good looking, and that's how he was able to charm his way to his victims and through his trial. I don't see that. He can come and ask me that when he's got 2 eyebrows instead of 1. But a lot of people found him very handsome. Now, one of the things that sticks out to me is his mother, because he grew up thinking that his mother was his sister, so it's his sister mommy. And if we're being honest, his mom didn't want him. She didn't want a child, at least not at the time. So to break the stigma of the 1940s, he was raised by his grandparents, and he thought that those were his parents. And I know what you're thinking, his mom is a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. But listen to what this little shit did, and tell me if you feel any different. When he was 3 years old, he placed sharp knives around his aunt while she was sleeping. Like put them in a whole circle around her. And he sat there and watched her while she was sleeping. So if you wake up and see that, now I'm going to tell you this second part while I am beating the shit out of my face. So moving on to after he started his killing spree, he would keep remains like in his apartment, almost as a keepsake, which that's not really the weird part because I feel like all serial killers did that. It's weird. It is weird, but you know what I mean. But he would return to those remains so that he could apply makeup to them and brush their hair and wash their hair and basically like take care of them, which is fucking weird. But Ted Bundy's a fucking weird dude. He escaped jail twice. Just straight up walked out of the front door. And he was just really cocky. And I don't like that. So, he's a fucking loser. So anyways, moving on to our next one is another of the more infamous serial killers. It is Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh, Jeffrey. It's almost like you want to feel bad for Jeffrey because he was just this weird little kid. But at the same time, I don't feel bad. No. Maybe I do, because he just wanted someone to love him. But you know what? I feel like if he did have someone to love him, they wouldn't satisfy him the way that he needed to be satisfied, and they would have got killed anyway. So, with Jeffrey, the first victim that he claimed was a man named Steven. And he picked up Steven while he was hitchhiking, and Jeffrey Dahmer was fresh out of high school at this point. I think he was like 3 weeks out of high school. So he was driving along the road and he saw a hitchhiker and decided to pick him up because the guy was hot. So they go back to Jeff's house and they do the little hanky-panky. They smoke and they drink. And then Steven's like, hey man, I gotta go. Jeffrey didn't like that. So Jeffrey actually confessed The reason he killed Stephen was because Stephen wanted to leave. And he didn't want Stephen to leave. So, if that's not a reason to kill somebody, I don't know what is. Just screams like you've got problems. He also worked in a chocolate factory. And don't make fun of me the way that I do my makeup. I am not the best female, but I try. So anyways, Jeff actually worked at one point he worked at a chocolate factory. I know, funny. And he actually brought, this is not funny, it's disturbing. He actually brought a severed head to work with him, and he kept it in his locker. But then when he would go on break and go to the bathroom, he would take the head from his locker and bring the head with him to the bathroom. And I know Jeffrey was a very lonely person. So it's almost like you want to feel bad for him. But the fact that you brought a severed head into the bathroom with you, you can't even go to the bathroom at work without a severed head with you, that's an issue. That's where I'm like, no, I don't feel bad. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad anymore. The next one that we're going to talk about is nasty John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy creeps me out. Just the look of his face, the whole, I don't know, his body, just him. He creeps me out. He disgusts me. I don't like him. This sick motherfucker would dress as a clown. He was known as Pogo the Clown for community events. So that way he would be this trusted man in the community, and no one would have ever thought that Pogo the Clown would be out killing people. Like, come on. Never trust a clown. I feel like we've all watched horror movies enough that that's rule number one. Don't trust a clown. Also, I did read that after his execution, and by the way, his last words when he was executed in, I think it was 94, his last words were, "Kiss my ass." And I'm like, really, dude? Like, really? It's corny and stupid and ugly, just like you. After his execution, a researcher got permission from John Wayne Gacy's family to keep his brain. She kept his brain for research purposes, and I was like, well, what'd she find? Because that's pretty cool. I mean, the fact that you have John Wayne Gacy's, the fact that you have a serial killer's brain to do research on, okay. Her findings are a little shady to me, because I wrote down that her research found that his behavior stemmed from psychological rather than physical abnormalities. No shit. I mean, yeah, you hear about those serial killers who, when he was young, he fell and hit the front of his head, and that's what caused him to be fucking weird. I don't know, but you got a serial killer's brain for research purposes, and that's all you came up with. That's all you fucking came up with, was the fact that it's more psychological than it is physical. Now I'm really getting heated, and it's perfect that the next one that we're going to talk about is Dennis Rader, because I fucking hate Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader is... he's like that kid in school that thinks he's like so funny, thinks he's so smart, thinks he's smarter than everybody. But really, you just look at him and you're disgusted. So, for those of you that don't know, Dennis Rader is known as BTK. And let me tell you, he's known as BTK because he came up with that nickname. He named himself because he's a fucking loser. He decided to name himself BTK because BTK stands for Bind, Torture, and Kill, which was his method. Oh, very fucking original. Not only does it piss me off that he named himself, he was on the church council, he was a Cub Scout leader, And he also installed security systems in people's homes. So that way he could literally hide in plain sight. And I'll give credit where credit's due. He did a good job because they didn't catch him for like 20 years or more. But still, that in itself pisses me off because that just fueled his ego that he wasn't caught. Not only did this dumb motherfucker taunt the police, so he actually asked a policeman. He straight up asked the cop, could a floppy disk be traced? And the cop told him no, which I think is funny because I read that the cop genuinely didn't know. It was a genuine mistake, a lucky mistake, because that is how Dennis Rader got caught. He sent a floppy disk to the police to taunt them like he does, and they actually recovered a deleted Microsoft Word file that was from Dennis at the church that he worked at. This mofo, when he was on trial, he asked the cop, how come you lied to me? Because the cop told him that no, it can't be traced. And I read that the cop, it was a lucky mistake, but then I also read that when this idiot asked the cop that, like, how come you lied to me? The cop was like, because I wanted to catch you. So that's stupid ass Dennis Rader. And the final one that I'm going to come into is Ed Kemper. He is known as the co-ed killer. This was a big guy. He was like 6 foot something. He like towered over everybody. And this is another cocky one. He was so daggum cocky that he would go and drink at this like local watering hole, but it was known as basically a cop bar. It was called a jury room. And he would actually like start conversations with the cops. He became very friendly with the cops, so much so that they gave him the nickname Guy. Like, hey, what's up, Guy? When he would go and have drinks with these cops, they would talk to him about their ongoing investigations, aka the killings that he was doing, so that way he can monitor how close he was getting to getting caught. So if that doesn't piss you off about how cocky he is, another thing. He also, when he was a teenager, I believe when he was 15 years old, he murdered his grandparents. He really wanted to murder his grandma. He didn't like his grandma. So when his grandpa left to run to the store or whatever, he took a shotgun and shot his grandma. But then he thought, my grandpa's really gonna be sad when he comes home and his wife isn't living anymore. So he killed grandpa too because he felt bad that grandpa was going to be alone and grandpa was going to come home to find his wife dead. So before he could find his wife dead, here comes Ed Kemper to save the day. Another thing that pisses me off about Ed Kemper is the fact that the last two people that he murdered, it wasn't just his mom, but it was his mom and his mom's friend. And it's not like the mom's friend was at his mom's house hanging out. He called her and asked her to come over so he could specifically kill her. So he always, I don't know if hate was the right word for it, but wasn't a good mom, apparently. So Ed Kemper, after he unalived his mother, he had exual intercourse with his mother's head. And that is disgusting. And not only that, I also read that he took out her vocal cords because she was always yelling at him. She was always like, you were a badass kid. Why wouldn't she be yelling at you? You grew up to be a serial killer. So he tore out her vocal cords and fed them through the garbage disposal. So kind of like a final fuck you to his mom. That was another one whose mom was like apparently a shit mom. But let me tell you what he did. I think I'm doing this wrong. Let me tell you what he did as a child to his sisters And you tell me if you wouldn't discipline him or at least yell at him. I don't know. Parents were different back in the 80s. He would force his sisters to play gas chamber. So he would basically like act like he's on the floor like, can't breathe, you know? So he's on the floor pretending that he can't breathe. And that's a game to him. And his sisters are like, this is fucking weird. And it got so bad that his mom actually, so Ed slept in the basement, and his mom would lock him in the basement at night because she was worried that he was going to do something with his sisters, something that a brother shouldn't do. So yeah, you hear these things that Ed is saying about his mom, but then it's like, okay, but bro, what did you do? Like, for every action, there's a reaction. I think that's how that goes. But can we talk about what you did as a child and how she had to keep you locked in a basement because she was worried that you were going to do something to your sisters, something nasty to your sisters? Fucking wild. Okay, so that is all that I have for you today. I actually feel kind of better. I got amped up and got my frustrations out. And I got ready for the day. What an accomplishment. So, I feel like I will be doing this again. I'm going to get a list together. I want to do some of the serial killers that a lot of people don't really know about. So, if you have any ideas, you can drop a comment below. And until next time, bye!